And then one of my favorite questions, how do I make room for spontaneity in my career? One of the things that comes up a lot, and I imagine a lot of you are creatives. I coach a lot of creatives, almost exclusively. I coach creatives. And a lot of entrepreneurs are creatives at heart. They say, Damon, I'm better when I just wake up in the morning and I just see where the day takes me. My art should be spontaneous. If I structure things too much, excuse me, I'm not going to make it, and that'll suffocate my joy and my expression. And the thing is that discipline is actually a big part of our creative expression. One of the best things that you can do when it comes to creating a strategy or a structure, which I feel like they're kind of cousins, creating a strategy or a structure, one of the best things you can do is figure out where you actually need security and then to let go of the rest. Personally, I need alone time. That's part of my security. It helps keep my mind set. I'm a sensitive person, so if I'm around people too much, then my emotions start to get all wiggly. I'm sure some of y'all can relate to that. I like silence. I love music. You see, John Coltrane behind me. Shout out to him. Oop. Yeah, well, you can't really see it from there. He's up there. I'll put the camera up next higher next time. But what I was going to say was that I love the sound of things and all that, but I also like to have quiet. Most of today has been quiet. So that's part of my security. That's part of my groundedness. I like having a bunch of options. That's one of the reasons why I haven't worked a whole lot of jobs. Because a lot of jobs, at least traditional jobs, are like, no, you do this one thing. And that's not, that's like a short circuit. It's a little bit too hard for me. So even with the jobs that I have had, which again haven't been that many, but the jobs that I have had, they've had a variety of things that happen. That's part of my security. Part of my security is being physically close to the people that I care about. So, I mean, Cuddler, my second startup, was all about connecting people for hugs. One of the reasons why I was successful is because that was something I was very passionate about, along with my other two co-founders. So, me having physical connection to the people I care about, whether it's hug with a friend or a loved one or whatever, those things are important to me. I can build security around that to go and say these are the things that make me feel secure. I have around probably about between 40 and 50 different sources of income as far as passive income. Some of them are dimes, some of them are hundreds, some of them pay me really, really well. And it varies from month to month, week to week. You know how it is with creatives. But that helps me feel secure because I know that money in some form is always coming in, whether it's my 27 books or the show or the sponsorships, whatever, there's always pieces that are coming in. That's part of my security. Your security might be I need to have this paycheck of this particular amount or more every 2 weeks. I don't need that. That's not part of my security. It never has been. Not important to me. I'd rather go ahead and get an email and say, hey, you made $100 today because someone bought your book. Bet. Great. That adds to my security. So my strategy is based on that, which is why I've been very serious about multiplying the amount of passive income streams that I have. You see how that works? My security feeds into my strategy, and my strategy is based on my security. The rest of it doesn't matter to me. You have to get to know yourself well enough to know what makes you feel secure. Having like a huge amount of money in my bank account, it feels good and I like it, but that's not as much security for me as money constantly flowing my way from the work that I do. But some folks are another way and they build their strategy based on that. Your strategy, I think, is very personal. But if that doesn't matter to you, that's the forget the rest part. So, number one, figure out what you need for security and then build your strategy around that. Sometimes we build our strategy based on other people's security or what other people find important. But then it doesn't really fulfill us unless we happen to overlap with that level of security, whatever makes them feel good. I'd say the second part, which feeds into the first part, is build a community that will hold you accountable to what you said was going to be your strategy. I have a handful of folks, probably a dozen people, who hold me accountable every single day. Okay, you're gonna be independent, and okay, how is this building your brand? Okay, you want to go to this conference. It sounds like it's gonna come out of pocket. Wasn't one of your goals this other financial goal over here? Why are you going to the conference? That conflict, that level of accountability, I have a hard time seeing a life that has mass or strong strategy without it. Because then you have other people who know your hopes, your dreams, your focus, your strategy, and are saying, okay, are you sticking to the script or not? Now, if you're updating your strategy and you're saying, oh, that doesn't matter to me anymore, then that's different. But if you're saying it matters to you, it really helps to have other people around to hold you accountable to it. So the thing is, you might have shiny object syndrome. I think it's shiny object syndrome. You can tell I don't have it. But shiny object syndrome, where it's like, oh, squirrel, and you see the next thing. You could have a really intense, driven focus. I have to complete everything drive, which is more of my energy. That's what I was talking about with Seth Godin. Shout out to him. Sunk costs can be ignored. That's why number 10, I think it's number 10 on there. Yeah, number 10. That's why number 10 matters so much on his new book. This is strategy. Because that one hits home for me. I'm like, oh, you're right. Some costs don't matter. You're right. We can move on. Whatever your thing is, your brain trust, your support group will help you with those circumstances and be like, yeah, you're not showing up in the way that's best for you and be able to give you the love and support that you need for that. So those are the two things I would find that really help you build spontaneity within your career, even as you strategize. Figure out what you need for security and to make sure that you have a support group, even if it's just one other individual. You can call them goal buddies. Shout out to Jeanette, but you can call them goal buddies or other folks where they will help you stay on track. And of course, you do the same ideally for them. And if you're able to do that, then it's easier to maintain your spontaneity while having some type of security and, of course, having a strategy that's based on that security. One of my favorite books that talks about this is The Creativity Leap by Dr. Natalie Nixon. Shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. I have her book around here, but I read it so often. I don't know where it was. I was right before the show. I was looking. That's why I was a couple minutes late. I was looking around for it. I was like, where is it? I couldn't find it, but it must be deep reading it, or maybe I was reading it while I was hanging out with my boys earlier this week. Anyway, I digress. Fantastic book. It is a little book. It's probably about 200 pages, maybe 150. Dr. Nixon talks about two basic principles. We have wonder and we have rigor. Wonder says, hey, if I had a magic wand, I would do it like this. And what if, or how about those kind of questions? Not worried about resources, time, energy, all the stuff I talk about and build from now. And of course, including the complete Bring Your Worth collection. None of that. It's just like wonder. I wonder if, da 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 da. I think she literally says that in the book. Rigor says, okay, how can we make this practical? Let's bring it back down to earth. I want to have a TV show. Great. And I want a TV show and I want to connect with hundreds of thousands of people all around the world. Great. Wonder. That feels good. And I want to be able to support entrepreneurs, side hustles, solopreneurs all around the world. Bet. Rigor is, okay, what platform is it going to be on? What are you going to talk about? Are you going to have guests on the show? Is it going to be solely promotional? Or will you actually be charging an audience for it? We have advertisers, we have sponsors. So out the short form, you see where I decided with that, et cetera, et cetera. You're building on that. That's the rigor. The fact is that we need both. Too much rigor means that you're not going to wonder about anything. Oh yeah, I want to go to let's say Italy. I want to go to Italy. Yeah, but I don't have any money. Okay, let's throw that away. Right? Like it's almost like we called it in journalism school. We call it an overactive editor. That's why people have so-called writer's block, which doesn't really exist, but it's a whole nother episode, maybe a future episode about that. But when people have writer's block, they can't really write, that's because they have overactive editor. That's having too much rigor. You're throwing out stuff before it even gets a chance to get planted. You're not planting that proverbial seed we talked about earlier in the episode. If you have too much wonder, then you're just like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go live on Mars. Okay, well, I guess I'll pack a suitcase and it's pretty cold on the planet, so I guess I'll bring some thermal underwear. Like, it's not it's not practical at all. People within my lifetime will probably live on Mars or at least hang out there, but it required a heck of a lot of rigor to actually figure it out, which they're still working on the rigor compact part of the part of that compound discussion. If you can balance the wonder and the rigor, then you have a nice tension and you're able to be creative in a way that makes sense. And you're able to, I would argue, come up with a brilliant strategy for your business that will withstand the next 5 years. Speaking of strategy, one of my favorite episodes, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole, Creative Power Strategy. It was probably about 2, 3 months ago. Might have been in the springtime. These three are considered the best rappers of the current generation, which is a generation below me. But they all have three very different ways to approaching their art of hip hop. I'm a business strategy guy, so I know their careers really well. I know their music really well. I remember when all three of them came out and have been fans in some form at some period of time of all of them. So breaking down, it's a 10-minute video, breaking down the strategy of all three of them. And believe it or not, those strategies can be applied directly to your business. And it's smart to kind of choose what strategy you're going to have. I'd be interested for y'all to watch the video and then take a guess at what strategy I actually have right now. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. Of course, I have a strong opinion. I don't think it came across in the video, but yeah, that'll be a little Easter egg for y'all. I love for y'all to comment on the video when you watch the video and let me know what strategy you guys think I'm currently implementing in my business right now. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm entrepreneurial coach Damon Brown, here to help you as a side hustler, a solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. You're watching Bring Your Worth TV every Wednesday, live at 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. You subscribe for free. How are you creating spontaneity? Spontaneity, I get the word out of my mouth, in your career, and how are you balancing that with a long-term strategy? Because if you're running your own business, especially if you're a side hustler or a solopreneur, you got to have a long-term strategy. So how are you marrying the two? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to check you out on the replay. Until next time, much love. Remember, you can always bring your worth. You can always build from now. Take care of yourselves and others.